Right then, if you watched the last video, which is about the weight thing, look, the bottom line is hopefully now you've all got a frog that's sort of jumping across and it can't whiz across the screen. But my frog has whizzed across the screen, and look where it's finished up. Let me just show you that again. I'm going to do that. And that annoys me. The frog gets to the top of the screen. Now I apologise for the fact you're thinking, where are the cars? You promised us the cars. I want to solve this problem. I think it's good practice. And in fact, it's not quite as straightforward as you might think. It's going to be quite a challenge for you now. You're going to need a few blocks of code to glue them all together, but it will eventually make this work just fine and dandy. So, I'm just going to press play again, and what I'm going to do is I'm deliberately going to make my frog finish here, because if the frog jumps higher than this, if the Y position, because this, don't forget, this is the Y axis, if the Y position is greater than where this frog is at the moment in time, we want to say, no, send it back. Send it back to this level here. We don't want it doing that. We want it going back. Unfortunately, I'm going to play the game again. Okay. If it goes up off the top of the screen, we want to say, no, don't go off the top of the screen. Put it back here. Now, fortunately, I can work out what exactly that position is, because if you may recall, if I go to the go-to now, it's actually sensing where the frog currently is. It says 0 and 162. But let me just move to the right. Oh, go back to my game again. If I move my frog to the right, you can see, if I I've got to click on something else, and it says 0, 160. If I click on events and then go click on motion again, we can see now it's gone to X36, and that makes sense. If I just click right a couple more times here, it doesn't change here until we click away, come back, and you can see it's now at 108. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, that what we want is the frog to basically be set back to 162, and whatever the X position is depends on what the frog is, where it's currently come from. So if we press up here, it would be at, well, it wouldn't be 108 actually, let's double check. You want the X value to be 72. Now I'm going to show you the blocks that you need, and then I am going to leave it with you to try and solve the task. So we want to say, if Y is greater than 162, then go back to 162 on the Y and detect what the X position was and set yourself back with exactly the same X position. That sounds a bit of a mouthful. Well, let's see if you can do it. We need to be asking if. Now this bit needs to be filled in with our operator, and what we're asking is the Y position greater than, I'll put this one for you, 162. Now, I said the Y position. When the frog is moving around the screen, Sratch keeps a record of a few things about the frog. In fact, if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that at any moment in time, Sratch knows the X position of the frog, the Y position of the frog, and the direction of the frog. So we want to be saying, if the Y position, I'm not going to do this for you, you're going to need this one. If the Y position is bigger than minus 162, then we want to send the frog back to 162 on the Y, and because Sratch keeps a record of the X position, then doesn't, this one, yes, that would be 72. But if the frog was over here, then if it jumps up one, you don't want the frog to magically appear over here. That would be daft. One other block that you need to include is, if I glue all these together now, it's only going to ask that question once. We need to be asking the question all the time. Is Y bigger than 162? And the final thing we're going to need is a forever. So let's move these down here. These are the blocks that you are going to need. Now if you want to pause this video here to make sure you've got them, then that's grand. Now what you're then going to need to be doing is putting them all together and gluing them to here. So that's your task. Probably the most complex one we've had to do so far, but it does annoy me when that frog goes off the top of the screen, so I'd like to get it right. And so should you. So off you go and solve that one. If you can't, the next video will walk you through how to do it.